Hey Falcons, Mrs. Pfeiffer here for week 6, part 1 of our summer learning. I hope you're having a great week, a great summer so far. The weather is hot. We went on a walk this morning, my son and my husband and I, and our dog Dakota, and I was sweating like crazy by the time we got back and we were just walking. So it is hot out. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Make sure you're outside playing in a sprinkler or something, and enjoy the sunshine. Last week, we talked all about adjectives and we talked about schema. And what I want you to do right now is tell someone that you're with, what does the word adjective mean? What's an adjective? So if you said an adjective is a word that describes a noun, you're correct. Remember we said a noun is a person, place, or thing. So if we said blue marker, the adjective is blue. The noun is the marker. Okay. So adjectives are words that describe. It could be like we said, crunchy tacos, things like that. It helps the reader really imagine what the author is talking about, and it really helps you picture it in your mind. And we said a lot of times you use your senses. You use your sense of smell, you use your eyesight, hearing, taste, and touch. So when we said a sizzling pan, you can imagine hearing the sizzling pan. It makes you kind of picture it better in your mind using adjectives. Last week, we also talked about schema, and we're going to continue working on schema this week. We're going to actually be reading a nonfiction story this week. So if you have this story, The Fly, get it out. It's about a disgusting critter. It's a funny story. It has little the flies are talking and stuff in it. So it's a funny nonfiction because it gives you facts and stuff like that story. So I did want to talk to you a little bit about not the difference between fiction and nonfiction, because throughout this summer learning, we've kind of bounced back and forth between fiction and nonfiction. Last week we read Something Beautiful, and that's more of a realistic fiction. It could really have happened, but it's not really giving you facts. Remember, we used schema and we talked about how we can make connections in a text and how we related our community to her community. And we also used our five senses to talk about the adjectives and things like that we found throughout the story. So it was a really good story. I liked it a lot. But this is actually fiction because it doesn't have real people in it. It's not giving us facts and stuff like that. It's realistic fiction, I would say. So the difference between fiction and nonfiction is fiction is fake. Okay, it's fake. It's not real. Nonfiction is real. It gives you facts. That's how you can tell the difference. So we've read quite a few books this summer, and one of them was Dragons Love Tacos. Do you think this is fiction or do you think it's nonfiction? So if you said it's fiction, you're right. It's fake, right? It's not giving you facts. I mean, I really don't think dragons love tacos, so I don't think that's true. And there's not real pictures in it. That's also another clue. So this is fiction. Now, what about this one? Remember we read this? What if you had animal teeth? Do you think this is fiction or nonfiction? So part of it is fiction and part's nonfiction. This one's kind of tricky. So it gives you facts, right? Gives you facts, but it also gave you, that's not real, right? So it's a little bit of both. That one was tricky. What about this one? Fiction for sure, right? And then we had at the very beginning, we read Finding Winnie. Remember this one? And this was a true story. So this is actually nonfiction because it gives you true events that happened. I love this story. I can't wait to read it again. Okay, so this week, Although this is an illustration, it still is going to give you, it's an illustrated book. That means it doesn't have real pictures in it and it just has fake pictures, but still going to be giving you facts. So this is nonfiction. Also this week, we're going to be talking about schema. We know a lot about flies. I'm sure you've seen a fly. I'm just sure. So we're going to talk all about schema. We're going to actually make a KWL chart in this video. And if you haven't made that before, the KWL chart, so the K stands for know, what we already know about flies. So that's going to be the schema part, okay? And then the W is going to stand for what we want to know. So what questions do we have? And I can't hear you, obviously. So I'm just going to come up with some questions, and I want you to come up with some questions at home. And then the L part is what we learned about flies after we read it. Okay. And I mean, I'm not that interested in flies, but it looks like a funny book. I just like skimmed through it. It looks like a funny book, so I hope you stick around for it. Just because like on the front look, he's saying hello. Like flies don't say that and they don't talk. So when I skim through, it looks like they're talking to each other. I mean, a fly shaving his face. That's funny. So we'll get in there, and it hopefully will be a funny story. Before we do our KWL chart, let's talk a little bit about some of the vocabulary that we're going to see. Remember, we always copy Mrs. Pfeiffer, so make sure I'm not the only one doing some silly stuff. We only have, let's see, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words this week. And what I want you to do, and I hope that you've been doing it all week, I think, or the past few weeks, I think I've kind of stopped reminding you. I hope that you're still putting in them in ABC order. I hope that you're still playing that game with your family, because that game is so fun. I do that with my husband sometimes, just being goofy. So I try to give him clues and see if he can figure out what I'm talking about. Okay, so the first word is going to be digestive. Can you say digestive? So digestive, let's see if we can see that. There we go. Digestive is like the process of when we eat food and it goes down our throat and then it goes in our tummy and everything that happens out of that. So digestive is when you eat something. And it's like the breakdown of food. So when we say digestive, it's the breakdown of food. Mirzan. Digestive means the breakdown of food. The breakdown of food. Good. Mir's off. Okay, the next word is introduce. Can you say introduce? Introduce. And introduce means to make someone or something known by name. So we're going to say, no, hold on. Mirzan. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mrs. Pfeiffer. My name is, you're going to say your name. Mirza. So that is introduce. It's when you, so in this story, it's going to say, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a housefly, I think. Oh, I'd like to introduce you to a very special guy. Here's the fly. Okay. So it's introducing you to something new. Well, not new to you, but that's just what it says in the story. Okay. The next word is species. Say species. And a species is a group of living things that have many things in common. So that's a tricky one. So say species. Oh, Mirzan. Species is a group of things that have things in common. Okay, Mir's off. So species is like if you think of snakes, there's all the different kinds of snakes in the world, and they all have similar characteristics, similar things that are in common, but they're not all named the same. Okay. So like you have a rattlesnake and you have a boa constrictor. So they're similar because they look similar. Like they don't have legs, they're long, and but they have different names, things like that. But they're a part of the same species. Okay. The next word is slightly. Can you say slightly? Slightly. And slightly means just a small amount. Okay, mirrors on, mirrors on. Slightly means a small amount. A small amount. Mirrors off. Okay, so it's just a small amount. So like I could say, I moved this card slightly to the right. Okay, slightly. I just moved it a little bit. Okay, the last word is pupa. Say pupa. So, and a pupa is the same thing as a chrysalis, or like if you think about a butterfly, it's like a cocoon. And it's where an insect is inactive and they're growing and changing in that stage. Okay, so mirrors on, mirrors on. A pupa is a part of an insect, where they are inactive, they don't move, and they're usually in a shell. Mirrors off. Okay, so like shell, like something like that. They have something around their body so they don't move, and they're growing inside there and changing. Okay, so you'll hear all about that because I didn't even know flies actually do that. Okay. Did I say mirrors off? Because I hope you're not copying me right now. Okay, so those are our vocabulary words. Now let's work on our KWL chart. We're just going to do the first part. What do we already know about flies? Okay, here's our handy dandy. So I'm just going to put a K, a W, and an L. The K. What do we know about flies? Well, we know that flies fly, right? So they fly. They can be pretty annoying, right? They're always around people. / our homes or houses. Okay. I do know that they have wings and lots of eyes. Wings and eyes. Now, I forgot to mention, what I want you to do is get a piece of paper. I'm just going to use this one. I just want you to get a piece of paper. I know it says something on the back of this, and I want you to draw 3 lines like I did and put KWL at the top. It can even be a napkin. I don't care. Just something white that you can write on. And then you can write this stuff down with me. Now I want you to add to it because I know there's a lot more about flies. I just ran out of room on my board. So you know a lot of things about flies, okay? They like garbage and trash, right? They are super annoying. They always fly around. I don't know if you know about their life cycle. That was going to be something that I asked. But in the next video, we're going to do the want to learn part before we actually read the story. And then in the last video, we'll write about what we learned. Okay, so that is what we're going to be working on. So get your schema written down, everything that you know about flies. And then also I want you to put these in alphabetical order. So pause it if you need to and write those words down. Put them in alphabetical order. Play games with your families about those words. It'll be a lot of fun. And I will see you in the next video.